Hi, my name is Izzatul Mirrah binti Mas Wiraasta, and I'm going to present for the introductions. At Pai Raja, the number of people using motorcycle is increasing year by year, and this is due to the number of students studying in the UTHM, University Tun Hussein of Malaysia, and also affected by the increasing number of residents in the Pai Raja area. And most of the people did not use the helmet because the destination they intended to go is near, so they assume no need to wear the helmet. For the methodology, our project was conducted by using specific variable which are able to collect numerical data for 5 days based on traffic violation which are motorcycles not using helmet, and the data was collected for 5 days along the Jalan Tembikai, Parit Raja, Jalan Pangsapuri Desa Siswa Parit Raja, and this place was surrounded by the house, student hostel, shop and school, and also the observation time was 7:30 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. and the data was structured and systematic data. So we analyzed the data of traffic violation of motorcycles that are not using helmet based on their gender, which is male and female. As we can see here, this is the data presentation for our project. The topic is traffic violations on motorcycles. The variable is no helmet, located at the Jalan Tembikai Parit Raja, Jalan Pangsapuri Desa Siswa Parit Raja, and the observation time was 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. So we can see here we are recorded the data for 5 days, and for the gender male and female.
My name is Nismawayuni binti Martani and my metric number is AF 2012. So today I will present about the data analysis for the chapter 1, which is descriptive statistics. Based on the collected data for 5 days, we found that the median of the male not using helmet is 52 and the mean for the data is 42.8, which is we calculated by using the formula, which is the total of the male over 5, which is for the 5 days. The first quartile we calculated by using the formula, which is 1 over 2 multiplied by n plus 1, and then we will get that the first quartile is 31, and for the second quartile is 52, the third quartile is 58. The minimum frequency for male not using helmet is 12 and the maximum is 61. For the percentile, the 25th percentile equal to Q1, which is 31. For the 50 percentile equal to Q2, which is also equal to the median, is 52. And the last one is for 75 percentile equal to Q3 and equal to 58. So this is the frequency distribution curve for the male not using helmet for the 5 days. The distribution is said to be skewed to the right, which is also positively skewed. For the female not using helmet, we found that the median is 38. The mean of the female not using helmet is 34.4, which is we calculated by using the formula. The total of the female not using helmet over 5, which is for the 5 days. The first quartile is 27, the second quartile is 39, and the third quartile is 41. The minimum of the female not using helmet for the 5 days is 10 and the maximum is 55. The 25th percentile equal to Q1, which is equal to 27. For the 50 percentile equal to Q2 and also equal to the median, which is 39, and the last one is the 75 percentile equal to Q3, and the answer is 41. So this is the frequency distribution curve for the female not using helmet. The distribution is said to be skewed to the right or positively skewed. This is the box and whisker plot for the male and female, which is we using the Excel to calculate the box and whisker, and it's represented by the vertical box and whisker plot. So this is the calculation for the upper inner fence and the lower inner fence. So the upper inner fence for the male we calculated by using the formula, which is Q3 plus 1.5 multiplied by the Q3 minus Q1, and the answer is 98.5. And for the lower inner fence, we also calculated by using the formula, which is Q1 minus 1.5 multiplied by the Q3 minus Q1, and the answer is negative 9.5. And for the upper inner fence for the female, we also using the same formula, and we'll get the answer of 62. And for the lower inner fence, also calculated by the same formula, which is the answer is 6. So this is the box and whisker plot for male and female with the upper inner fence and the lower inner fence that we calculated before.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Azhad Haziq bin Azman, DF200045. For the chapter 6, significant testing, statistical hypothesis is a statement about a popular parameter developed for the purpose of testing. In statistical analysis, we make a claim that a hypothesis then follow up with tests to verify the assertion or to determine that it is untrue. Since the population are mostly so large that it is not feasible to study all the items or people in the population, we take a sample from the population. We can therefore test a statement to determine whether the sample does or does not support the statement concerning the population. Hypothesis testing or significant testing is a procedure based on sample evidence and probability theory to determine whether the hypothesis is a reasonable statement. First, we take the sample information, gender, male and female, sample mean, sample standard deviation and sample size. Next, let X be the mean response for male, let Y be the mean response for female, and we use the level significance 0.01. Then we put the data into the Z statistic formula. We get Z equal to 2.47. Then we draw the rejection region, one tail test, and we get the critical Z value taken from the table corresponding to an area under this table of 0.49. The Z table show the data 2.330 equal to 0.4901. So the conclusion, since the calculate Z value 2.47 is greater than the critical Z value 2.33 and fall in the rejection region, we reject HO. Thus we assert HA, and it is reasonable to conclude that the mean for male is greater than the mean for female.
Hi, my name is Aini Qaliesa binti Adnan, and my matrix number is AF200009. So in this chapter, which is chapter 8, we use analysis of variance to test the equality of two or more population by examining the variances of samples that are taken. So in this project, we compare two population, which is female and male, variance using F in two-way method to solve the collected numerical data in 5 days based on traffic violations of motorcyclists that not using helmet. Step 1 is we calculate the mean and variance using the formula that we got here. So we have male and female. So the female is we got 42.8, and for the variance is 434.2. And for female, we got the mean is 34.4 and the variance is 284.8. So next is step 2. We state the null and the alternative hypothesis, H0 and HA. So we use the significance level is 0.10 and the degrees of freedom in the numerator for male V1 is 4 and the degrees of freedom in the denominator for female is 4. Since this is a two-tailed test, we divide the significance level into 2 and we got 0.05. So for step 3, we find the F calculated and F critical. F calculated, we use the formula, which is the variance for male and over variance for female. So we got 1.5228. So for the F critical, we refer the table F distribution to determine the F critical. So we got there F critical is 6.39. So for step 4, which is the last step, where we look up the statistical table and state our conclusion. So we got the F calculated is 1.52 and F critical 6.39. So we conclude that F calculated is less than F critical. Thus, we accept the H0. The conclusion is the data that taken is true and accepted. That's all. Thank you from me.
Hi, my name is Nurul Atikah, binti Azrull Fitry, number matrix AF 200039, and I will explain the discussion and the conclusion. First, for the discussion, chapter 1, the descriptive statistic. The first box show the formulas that used for quartile to find quartile and means. Box number 2 is what we find in this chapter, the data analysis. We find median, mean, first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, minimum and maximum value, percentile, frequency distribution curve, and also sketch the box and whiskers plot. So from the result for data analysis in chapter 1, we get the frequency distribution curve for male and female are skewed to the right or positively skewed. This slide show our distribution curve for male and female, and there is also a box that show summary of the result for this chapter 1 descriptive statistic. Next is discussion for chapter 6, which is significant testing. There is five steps that used to analyze. First, state the new hypothesis H0 and alternative hypothesis H alpha. Second, select the significant level alpha. Third, identify the test statistic. Fourth, formulate the decision rules. And 5, lastly, make the decision based on our calculation. First, the Z calculated value our determined by using this formula shown in the slide, and from the calculation we get that the Z value, calculated Z value is 2.47, which is greater than the critical Z value 2.33. The critical Z value will get from Z distribution table, where the significant level set by 0.01. So from the result we get that critical Z value falls in the rejection region, so we can reject H naught, and we conclude that the mean for female is greater than uh, mean for female is greater than mean for female. Next discussion is for chapter 8, which is analysis of variances. First, from this chapter 8, the step that we use for that analysis is first we find the mean and variance value for the data. Second, we state the null and alternative hypothesis. Third, we set the significant level to 0.10. Then we calculate the degree of freedom that using formula n-1, and the critical F value was observed from the distribution table. Lastly, we solve this data analysis by using F-test to sample for variance, which is we uh, prove our manual calculation. Okay, by solving using F-test to sample for variances, in the slide there is show that the calculation that we get from the Excel, which is calculated F value is 1.5228, that is smaller than the critical F, which is 6.39, that is falls in the non-rejection region, so we not reject H naught. So we can conclude that the variance of the motorcycle between female and male that is not using a helmet is true for both data. So the conclusion for our report is we use to analyze the data that we observe by using 3 topics that we learned from the statistics civil engineering course, which is chapter 1 descriptive statistic, chapter 6 um, significant testing, and lastly chapter 8 analysis of variances. For our data, we get based on the observation for 5 days along the Jalan Tebikai Parit Raja, Jalan Pasapuri Desa Siswa Parit Raja, and the data were calculated in the duration of 7:30 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. for 5 years. And we also collect that the gender of the motorcycle that violate the traffic, which is no helmet. That's all.